Today, it's my great pleasure and honor to welcome Danna Levy Hoffman to the show. Danna is not only a brilliant functional medicine certified health coach, specializing in gut health and self love. She's an old friend and colleague of mine from a bygone day when we actually worked together on a startup, and I actually got to know and fall in love with this wonderful human. So, welcome to the show, Danna.
Oh, thanks, Mary. I fell in love with you too, so the feeling is mutual.
Go us. Look at us now. Well, it's my great honor and pleasure to welcome you, Danna, and welcome everyone to the Better Beyond 40 Formula podcast, where smart, driven women over 40 and those who support them ditch the confusion and cut through the midlife wellness nonsense. I'm Dr. Mary Pines, award-winning PhD biomedical scientist of 25 years with a decade in women's health and longevity consulting. I specialize in transforming the health and lives of midlife women from their late 30s to early 60s by delivering clarity and practical, real-life solutions with honesty, compassion, and a little humor. We're going to have some fun today. So let's dive in. Get to know Danna Levy Hoffman. About 12 years ago, she found herself 20 kilos overweight, dealing with chronic health issues, burnout, and the never-ending frustration of diets that just weren't working. But what started as a tough chapter became a turning point in Danna's life. She began healing her relationship with food, taking back her health, and eventually transforming her entire life. And today, she's a thriving functional medicine certified health coach who helps people do exactly that. Ditch the diets, tune into their bodies, and find joy in food again. And I'm so excited for her to share her story and wisdom with us today. So welcome again, Danna. And just to start us off, I'd love for you to give us a little bit more of your fascinating backstory.
My backstory, and you'll understand this because your functional medicine started, in the womb and started when I was born. I was actually born with a heart murmur, which means that there's a little bit of a hole between two chambers in the heart. And in the 80s, it freaked doctors out. And so they gave me a lot of antibiotics for the first 11 years of my life.
Wow.
And I'm talking about numerous times a year, every single year. If I went to the dentist for a checkup, simple checkup, I'd have to go through a series of antibiotics for a week. So as you can imagine, my gut health never got a chance to even, thrive for a moment. I was a sickly child. I was just not, it wasn't good. But, I was growing up quite happily and didn't necessarily put too much emphasis on my gut or my gut health because I was, young 20s and having fun. And I then had to go through another set of antibiotics after quite a long time. And that actually started my health spiraling down in a very weird way, where I'd have literal, like any problem that you can think of. I remember going to the doctor with like a list of 15 things that I wanted to understand why and what is going on. So symptoms. And yeah, it wasn't until I, kind of got to understand functional medicine, work in that world for my own health, that I understand how many people must be suffering from these things like leaky gut and, just anything, just dysbiosis, anything really. So yeah, that's kind of the short introduction to my backstory.
Yeah, of course. It's quite a journey you've been on. And I'm just curious, because you came into this realization like, oh, what I'm doing isn't working. Can you take us back to that moment when you realized like maybe the meds, the diets, they weren't the answer anymore?
Yeah, I was a new mom. I had two kids very close in age. They're 15 months apart. So I was suffering from anything from depression to, overweight to hair loss to many, many other things and pains and aches and ugh. And I remember going to the doctor for pretty much a chronic sinus infection. I mean, I used to show up there every month because I had a sinus infection and needed some treatment. And every single time I went, they x-rayed my brain,
Oh my God.
basically.
Wow.
And I got very frustrated because I was like, listen, this is a chronic issue. Do I really need to go through this every single month? And he's like, yeah, we have to make sure and blah, blah. And I was like, no, this is really not working out for me at all. And this was when I was also researching a little bit beyond it because I was sick and tired of it. And so I started on the search. Luckily, back when this happened, we could trust what was on the internet. So, those were the good old days. And I
Yeah,
found out
right.
about, apple cider vinegar, and I started doing like apple cider vinegar treatments and stuff like that. And I let go of dairy. And within a couple of weeks, those two changes
Mm,
made a humongous difference for me. I mean, it was uncanny, like that. I could not believe it.
amazing.
And that really triggered it. Now, I always had this kind of going back to nature. I'm a hippie, I'm a witch kind of, like the kids
Yeah,
call me both.
love it.
So, yeah, it was always this pull. But that moment when I realized, wow, I'm not suffering anymore. And it was just two very small changes, dietary. I mean, you'd be stupid not to
Wow.
search for more, right?
Totally, absolutely. And so, as a gut health specialist who works with, tons of people and there's so many ways that our guts can be messed up. The doctors really don't know in the conventional system. Love our doctors. I'll never hate on them, but there's a lot to be desired there, as you point to. So I'm curious what signs a midlife woman or anyone listening can look for that may be signs their gut isn't working well.
Oh, that is a loaded question because
Uh,
you know the answer.
yeah, yeah. You can give us the Coles notes.
It could be literally anything, which I think is where the problem lies because when you have hair loss, you don't think gut immediately, or when your little pinky hurts, you don't think gut, or your knee or an old injury, right? You don't actually think that, but generally inflammation, low-grade inflammation, chronic inflammation would be one good sign. Of course, the bloating or the food baby, as we call it, right? As soon as you put something in it, like you wake up the sexiest and then you put an olive into your mouth and you go poof and you blow up. That kind of puffiness, eczema. I think a lot of things that you can name could be related to gut health, all the way to, of course, autoimmune disease, right? A lot of times autoimmune disease is triggered by our gut health. It would be, a good long ass leaky gut that's the cause. So,
Right. Yeah.
so it's very hard to pinpoint, but it usually is from the gut. This is the biggest secret that we will reveal here, is
Yeah.
that most of our issues are coming from the gut or from what we put in the gut.
I fully believe that. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
incredible how it's such a pivotal axis of our health. And I think we're coming into the age of realizing that that's such a huge piece that you must love.
Oh my God, I geek out about this all the time. I think it's time. I really think it's time because I feel like we came from, old age Chinese medicine and, what our grandmas told us to do. They knew. So I
Mhm.
feel like we just kind of missed the mark there. And instead of trying to learn from our elderly, we were like, you're old and stupid. We know better. We're going to play on our computers and
Right.
we know nothing.
Oh my God, so true. Sing it loud, Grandma.
I know, right?
Yeah, amazing. And on that note, so there's a lot of places people could start. And so, if the listener is overwhelmed, what's maybe one or two simple gut supportive changes they could start with this week?
And that's a really good question. And I could answer it in different ways. I think that there are, of course, the way that I would want everyone in the world to do, but I think each person needs to find for themselves this one thing that they feel that they can leave out from the list of things that I'm going to say, that they decide like, okay, I can do a month without this group of foods. and see how they feel. Now, it's not going to necessarily be better. Of course, the whole group would be better just because it's huge triggers to the gut, as we know. But at the end of the day, any little step that you manage to do is going to help you to get to the next step. So baby steps, right? I would say definitely things that we need to do. Well, I think we need to focus on our sleep, first of all.
Right.
I'm not going to even start with food, right? I think people underestimate the power of sleep and good quality sleep. So let's start with that. But then I know that's not
Couldn't
what
agree
people
more.
want to hear.
Yeah, I know, right?
I would say try to leave out processed sugar, processed foods, dairy, gluten. I would say those are the big ones. I can kind of go on. There's like kind of 5 that are big triggers, but let's stick to those 3, right? Processed sugars or even processed foods, anything packaged, gluten or dairy.
Right.
Do butter for all I care, but like the rest of the dairy, let's leave out. And then see how your body is actually reacting. Because for some people, dairy is not going to be an issue. They thrive on it. It doesn't bother them. For me, being from my background and my genetic disposition, I am ultra sensitive to it. Like it's sad. Like
Right. Oh,
kefir. I react to kefir, which is usually for people who really have gut issues. They usually are fine with kefir.
mm.
I'm the one that can't even deal with that. So I'm like, whatever, I have it because it's delicious and I know it's good for me. But but yeah, I think if you choose one of those, you
Awesome.
probably know deep in your heart which one is problematic anyways,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mostly do we do, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Because don't be like, oh yeah, I'll leave out sugar because I only eat a muffin a week.
Right. Yeah.
Go for the gluten because you're eating bread daily.
Yeah.
So do that one step, and I think your body will then tell you what you need to know. And then you just
Yeah.
keep listening.
Yeah. And I love that you're making the point of it's individualized because a lot of people
Mm,
are out there on the internet trying all the things that are generic. And it's like, oh, well, everyone's different. I have clients all the time who are like, should I eat dairy? Like, you gotta test it out, but you gotta know the signs to look for when it comes to inflammation
yeah,
and reactivity in the body. And sometimes to do that, as you well know, it's about kind of actually taking everything out that is inflammatory so that you can add things back in slowly, that sort of elimination diet perspective,
exactly.
which is temporary, everybody. Temporary, it's not forever. And sometimes you can add back those foods once you heal your gut. So it's not like say goodbye to cheese forever. It's like, okay, right now we got to figure this thing out.
Yeah. So we want to feel better because I'm pretty sure we were not put on this earth to suffer as much as we suffer. So
Right.
I'm sure you spoke at nauseum about PMS symptoms and all the things that we're experiencing, menopause, even perimenopause, like the things that we're experiencing that we don't necessarily have to if
Yes.
we only went back to, ourselves and kind of
Mhm.
give ourselves the right energy to feel better, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it
Yeah.
can be it can be simple. And actually, on that note of elimination diets, I before we started recording, we were having a bit of a chat, and you mentioned a project, an exciting project that you're working on that supports people to remediate their gut. Do you want to give us a little bit of a tidbit on that?
I am so excited about this project. I've collaborated with a dear friend, a functional medicine doctor, and his partner, who's also in the functional medicine world. She's a coach, she's a lot of amazing things. And we are working on a recipe book, information and recipe book for a total of 9 elimination diets, where you'd be able to go through a questionnaire to give you an idea of what diet you might want to try, what kind of elimination you want to try, or even numerous ones. It gives you information about all of these diets as well, very detailed information. And then it gives you and when I say a lot of, I mean like a shit ton of recipes. I'm talking over 150 recipes. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
amazing.
And every single recipe actually tells you if which diet it is good for and if it's something that you can just modify and just change to make this recipe good for your diet. It's in there. So it's like made for the easiest way. And this kind of came about because of my own struggles and finding out at the time, oh, great. So I have leaky gut and I need a low histamine diet and I need a low FODMAP diet. And and I was like, what am I supposed to eat? Just zucchini and chicken. Okay, gotcha. Just chicken breast and zucchini and carrots was what I lived on for a long time. And as you can imagine, I was the most depressed in that time because that's not fun. That's not fun. And food should be fun.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
we should enjoy every single fucking bite. So this book kind of came about and we're hoping to soon kind of launch it into, well, first the German part of the world, but then immediately afterwards in English, because there's Google Translate now, so we can translate thousands and thousands of pages in one go.
That's awesome. I actually forgot to tell the listener you're in Switzerland, so that's
Yeah.
a thing. But yeah, Danna has her own show, and the book will follow your progress in the background. And at the end of the show, we'll offer where the listener can find you, and in the show notes there'll be all the links to the fabulous Danna's work, so you can find her coaching support and her new book. So very stoked for you about that.
Thank you.
That's so powerful. I actually have a tiny anecdote literally from yesterday. I have a client working with me for 3 years and we've done so much, but I couldn't get him off of the processed food. And he was suffering with migraines.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen him for about 8 months when I had a call with him literally yesterday. So it's funny we're talking today. And he's like, oh, I'm going through things. So I'm gonna call him Big D. Big D. The migraines. What's happening? He's like, oh, I forgot to tell you. I haven't had one in forever. And I was like, whoa, wait. And I asked him what was the difference? He said, I cut out processed food. I finally did it. And I was like, holy shit. Debilitating migraines, who would have thought? Right? It's so
Yeah, and so many people walk around this earth with debilitating migraines or debilitating PMS, like PMS pains. Or, oh my God, anything really like back pain or neck pain or I don't know. I want to cry for every single one. I'm like, guys, please.
Yeah, and no one's thinking about the gut connect.
Oh, you can't. I mean, but we understand why. Because the doctor would never ask you what are you eating when you go in. When you go in with your dog, the vet will ask, what did the dog eat?
Yeah, that's a good point. Totally. Back to basics, please. Before the drugs, how about the food? The food is the medicine. As you will, as you preach widely. Sing it loud, girl. I love it.
I know.
And on that note, I love that you said food should be fun.
Yeah, of course.
I would love that. And I would love to pivot now to I love the other, maybe half of our conversation to be centered around the biggest topic that I struggle with women coming into my program on my discovery calls, my hormone clarity calls. And this is around dieting. Diet culture. My women are in, the 40 to 60 something range, midlife, she's nodding away over there.
Yep.
They feel like they've tried everything. Why is this diet not working? And I love your quote on your website that combining math and food, as in calorie counting, is the most evil thing ever. I had to laugh out loud. Absolutely. So
I mean,
yeah,
we've all been there.
Yeah, why do diets fail us, Dana? Why doesn't cutting calories work?
Oh God, you really opened a Pandora's box. Look, diets do not work let's start with why diets do work, right? Diets do work for a very short amount of time because you're most likely leaving out processed foods. You're most likely leaving out sugar. You're mostly, you have probably more vegetables in your diet. Your diet is more balanced. You're probably drinking more because hopefully if it's a good diet, it tells you to also drink a few liters a day, That's why it works, because you're actually doing things better. You're giving your body better information in order to process it into energy. So then it works, but these diets are usually A, very constricting, B, not necessarily focusing on the right things still. but they keep you in this, I am doing this now for a certain amount of time until I reach this goal, which is usually scale number, right? It's usually not anything else related. Or this wedding is coming up. I need to look hot in that dress, right? We've all been there. I've been there. I'm not shaming anyone here. I'm with you, sister. But
No.
so you have this goal, and then you reach that goal, and you go, cool. I can stop. I've reached that goal, and now I can go back to midnight pizza ordering and whatever your Achilles heel is.
Mhm.
And then, of course, the body bounces right back with this diet culture of like, do this. If you do this, you will be hot.
Mm.
And everyone can do it. I can do it, you know. And then you see a 19-year-old flexing her muscles and her belly. It just doesn't work that way. We're all very, very different. Our
Mhm.
body construction is different. Our genetic disposition is different.
Mhm.
Some people, it doesn't matter how much weight they will carry or how much they will lose, they will still have a type of body that is bulkier and beautiful, by the way, but just, not the magazine cover body. This is why we love to talk about, a lifestyle change that supports you so that you're not sitting there every single day counting your calories or counting your points if you're doing the Atkins diet or counting your freaking if you know that you're putting in the right information into your body, you will struggle a lot less to begin with. And that makes it so much easier already,
Mhm.
right? If you're not limiting, you're not weighing your freaking salad. Eat as much salad as you want. Don't tell me how many liters of salad to eat, but put on a good freaking hunk of meat on there or some sort of protein,
Mhm.
because that's when the body knows when to stop eating. All I'm trying to say is that the diet culture just simply doesn't work because it works around shame and it works around very, very, very specific goal base.
Absolutely.
And those two things don't work for us. We need small, sustainable steps so that it doesn't feel like punishment, so that the pizza doesn't feel like reward. You can
Mhm.
have freaking pizza, it's fun. Just enjoy it as a recreational drug rather than, being an alcoholic or a whatever and consuming it every single, night or a few times a week. There's a big difference.
Totally huge difference. Like gamifying food for yourself is like, whoa.
Yeah.
And your point about how different bodies are, just like you were talking about how dairy works for some and not others. Same with different dietary strategies. And that's why they should work with someone like you to uncover what's going to be the best for their body. Like really take a more scientific approach. So for the women out there she's thinking, oh, I've tried all the diets, yada, yada. I'm so over dieting. What are some subtle ways that diet culture can still show up for, let's say, a woman in midlife, even if she's thinking, I'm done with dieting?
The word diet is always such a like it gives me like a glitch in my head. So,
Yeah.
because the word diet is not a bad word. It just got a bad connotation of it.
I can ask it
And
a different way too, which would be,
yes,
how can a woman tell if she has an unhealthy relationship with food, even if she's not actively dieting? We can.
love that question. I love that question so much because I think that a lot of women proudly wear this badge of like, I don't give myself a hard time if I have a chocolate. But again, that chocolate is not that recreational drug anymore. And that's where the problem lies. And that's where there's a problem with the relationship with the food. I think that what we need to realize is not only do we give ourselves grace and it's okay to have something, insert your biggest, whatever you love. For me, it's potato chips. But you can insert, whenever you hear the word potato chip, just insert whatever, your chocolate or your ice cream or whatever. When I sit and I realize that I have potato chips in my cupboard at all times, and it's always a new bag. So it's not that same bag looking at me, okay? And I feel like there's a certain time of the day or of the week where I'm like, it is time for my potato chips, kind of like, and then I will sit and I will not share any of the potato chips because I want that bag for myself. Then even when I give myself that grace and love and go like, it's okay, which I do, because I think that we go through a lot, and especially at our age, we need to give ourselves grace. We
Yes.
need to give
Oh,
ourselves
yeah.
love. So,
God, yeah.
soul food is okay. But when I then deep inside myself realize, you know what, this is becoming a problem. Maybe I'm having it too often. Now I've started this trend, right? Then I take it upon myself to look at those potato chips, not decide that I'm going on a yet another huge diet and throwing away all the garbage food. No, I'm
Mm.
saying potato chips. I will stop buying potato chips, right? So I'm making that one step that I felt was problematic because often we sit there and we're like, I'm such a terrible person. I'm having potato chips again, and you're feeling miserable. So you're like, oh, I suck so bad. I'm going to pull out the ice cream as well
Oh,
because might as well. But there's two soft spots there is what I'm trying to say. There's that. And then there's I'm getting so comfortable just eating whatever I want because I love myself and it's fine. You know what I mean? But then you
yep.
start realizing, oh, look, my sleep is not great lately, or oh, that pain is coming back, or oh, did you notice that my skin, the eczema is coming back, or like dry patches or whatever, or I'm losing my hair like crazy. It's not even, in between seasons when we usually shed hair, those kind of things, right? Those kind of things should be a little alert sign from your body saying, dude, can we talk for a second? Like, too much of that, not enough of this. And then when you just kind of go like, okay, cool. Now I love you. I respect you. Thank you for letting me know, dear body. Let's just tackle the potato chips. And then it just kind of gets better when you feel better. It feels good to feel good. When you
Right.
feel better, it's going to motivate you enough to take that next step whenever you're ready for it. And that's the beauty of it is we're working, with our body, funny enough.
Absolutely. That's a great frame on having a healthy relationship with like we'll call them, some people call them treats, which is problematic,
Yeah.
but for obvious reasons. But if somebody knows they have an unhealthy relationship with food or food as a reward or an emotional crutch, what advice do you have for them? Like what's the one actionable thing they can do when they have that super strong craving? What can they look at for themselves to maybe stop the behavior or like tune into what they're doing?
I love that question. I think that, some of the things that usually help, there's many, many things that you could do, right? But I think one of the gentlest step that you can do, which will also support your health most likely, is just position yourself in that moment, right? That where you kind of go like, oof, I feel like having something. It's usually like you're sitting on the sofa, you're probably tired, you should just go to sleep, but you're like, ooh, I need something to munch on. And then you go to the cupboard and you grab your potato chips or chocolate or whatever. For me, it would just be to just take a deep breath before you get off the sofa. So you clocked whatever you want, the potato chips. Okay, take a deep breath or do the 5-second rule, which is awesome. Mel Robbins, if you don't know her, listen to
Love
her.
her.
Amazing, amazing.
Yes.
But just take a deep breath and be like, okay, cool. I will have those potato chips today. That's fine. Let's first have, I don't know, a fruit or two or vegetable or two, like veggie sticks with hummus or like whatever you have, right? Of some fruit, some nuts, something that will nourish you, actually nourish you. Okay. But have a glass of electrolytes. I don't know, like something, right?
Nice.
Something that probably your body is craving or needs.
Nice.
And then like sit down and enjoy it. Don't pretend that it's punishment. You're getting your chips. But then afterwards, have your chips, but try to see if you even need them in that moment. Maybe you'll be like, you know what, that was good for me. I don't feel like I need them. I'll keep them for tomorrow night. I don't need to go and buy a new bag. Or you're probably going to have less of the chips. And either way, it's super rewarding because now you have some like your body's tingling from the nice vitamins that you just got in there and some fibers and some good fats and whatever. And your kind of emotional child, little child is happy because it got the potato chips and everyone's happy. So, that I think that's one of the really the friendliest steps that you can do to try not to fight the urge, but to go with it and to complement it with something healthy.
I love that. Nice. The pattern interrupt with some information from the food. That's great.
Exactly. And then you're kind of hoping the Pavlov effect will work and you'll, whenever you feel like you want to crave something, you'll go just for the fruit. Hopefully it'll happen
Yeah,
one day.
that's awesome. That's awesome. Sometimes I find, and I'm curious your thoughts on this, like people will crave salt or they'll crave a certain thing and it's not maybe even emotional or boredom or whatever. It can be a deficiency.
Yeah.
So, yeah, how do you approach that? Like, how do you dissect those things in your practice?
Yeah. I mean, and again, for me, I think it's easier when you work with a person, you kind of get to know them and their patterns and stuff to pick up on, oh, it's probably the minerals, or it's probably specifically like magnesium, or it's probably, but I think that for a lot of people, it is something that the body is missing. If it's genuine hunger, it's probably protein.
Hmm.
If it's more of a like, oh, I need something salty, or, like just go for an or what do you call it? Electrolyte drink. Please, a good one, not a crappy one. Element, I think you guys have in Canada and in the US, which is a good one. Relight is a great, great brand. There's good ones. Not a sponsor. So,
Yes, I
so
agree.
yeah.
The sports drinks are largely crap. Just to like make that really clear for people.
If it glows in the dark, it's not good for you. Just saying.
Totally. Gatorade? No, no, don't do it. With the 40 grams of sugar.
I always laugh. I say that my kids' friends probably think I have Tourette's because every time they will show up with a Gatorade, I'll start cursing and like just just going crazy. They're like, "What is up with your mom?"
I get you. Yeah, totally. So this
Yeah.
sounds a lot, Dana, like I kind of taking a moment to prioritize one's self and one's needs, which, wow, for the midlife female as my audience, that could be that can be the first and the biggest ask. And, women can often tell me like, oh, I don't have time. I feel like I'm being selfish. So I'm curious for a woman who's stretched, she's got kids and she's mid-career, she's got the husband, she's got all the duties at home, all of that. What does giving yourself that time, that space look like? What does taking care of yourself, or so you can
Mm,
take care of others, actually look like in practice? Because I think that you have been in this situation over
yes.
and over in life, and you are really good at navigating.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, that is a very good question because that is something that you see across the board with both my clients and yours, as I'm sure. It's very hard in the grind of life to believe that taking just a bit of a break will actually contribute because we're just running in this hamster wheel and it will not stop. And so things need to happen and things need to be done. And we also have little humans that we're now, we decided to create and take care of,
Yeah.
which is insanity. And,
Yeah.
who has time? You're a caregiver. And if you're in your, 40s, 50s, 60s, you're most likely not only taking care of the generation you have birthed, but also the generation that birthed you. And probably your partner is going through a midlife crisis all at the same time.
Mhm.
Life is fucking hard.
Yeah.
So I think understanding that moment that you take when you go,
Mm.
I need to hold the fort down. This is all on my shoulders. And if I don't make sure that my shoulders are strong enough, then everything falls apart. And it's not fun when it falls apart around you and you can't do anything because you're so burned out or you're so just exhausted, or your gut completely shut and now you have MS and you're laying in bed and you can't do anything. That's serious fucking business. And everything has to kind of, mold around that. And now you're the one that needs caregiving. That's not fun. So to take that moment and say, A, I deserve this because all of this is on my shoulders. I fucking deserve this.
Yeah.
My son yesterday in the car, he goes, "But Mom, you deserve it." And I go, "I know, baby. I deserve everything that comes my way. I deserve all the good that comes my way." And, because we need to convince ourselves of that. It's not something that's easy to believe in. We have to reiterate it. Like, we do deserve it. A lot is on our shoulders. We need to take a fucking break. And if that break is, giving our body a break physically from a certain something that is very heavy on our health, or if it's the moment to meditate or to yoga or to have, a glass of wine with a friend or whatever it may be, it's definitely worth it. And it needs to be looked at the same way. That glass of wine with a friend should be equal to taking a moment for yourself, to focusing on your health and making sure that you're around for in a good health for still a very long time, because you're needed.
Absolutely. Yes. Emphasizing that like taking care of yourself is not selfish. It's actually serving everyone around you.
Exactly. Exactly.
I imagine this is a foundational entry point for the programs you offer for people. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think that, well, I don't think in the programs that I provide also, we really focus on, as I did here, we first talk about sleep.
Yay.
And they hate me for it. And I'm like, no, you're going to better your sleep, because if you're tired, I'm not working with you. You're not workable.
Right? Yeah.
Just focus on the first thing that will help you to move on to the second thing. Yeah, it's funny that way, but
Totally. Yeah.
yeah.
I find a lot of people come in and they're like, okay, I have these goals. I want to lose weight. I want to get healthy. But they're coming at it like they want this outcome that's way down the road. But the first step has to be, well, you have to be resourced enough to actually do the exercise, to do the meal prep, you gotta get your energy back. And so I'll often where I started my program is I wind things way back, and we start with hormone balance and metabolic health. And then I'm very clear that weight loss does not happen in a safe and a sustainable way until we have those things dialed. So yeah, I love
Exactly.
station, and yeah, starting with sleep.
Exactly. Yeah. And again, I'm sure that if you're saying that hormones are number one that you're talking about, sleep is number one that you're talking about as well. That's, you know what I mean? So that is the funny thing, is that a lot of people come to me with weight and I go, look, I know that that's what you want as the final result, or the where proof is that you've invested your money well. But just paying me doesn't make you lose weight. It just doesn't work that way. And it's understanding that the weight loss is a really beautiful side effect usually to the horrible, horrible things that we do in those programs.
Yeah, totally. They're not healthy or sustainable.
No, terrible.
Cool. And yeah, and like that, that's sort of part of that whole sort of cycle of myths that float around on the internet. Just cut your calories, move more, eat less. And you hear from doctors, of course. I would love actually on that point to know, what are some of the top myths? I would love you to just let us know what some of the top myths are that you find yourself debunking for people over and over again.
I love that you asked that, because I just recorded for my podcast, I just recorded with my partner myths, exactly that question. So that's so funny. That's a really good question. I think one that really rubs me the wrong way is calories in, calories out / move more, eat less. Those are like, they get, there's a ball of fire in my chest wanting to explode when I hear these, because I think you see these miserable souls running on the treadmill in the gym, and that they're basically fed on lettuce for the last month, and they're not necessarily really losing weight, or maybe they are a bit, but that's not a way to live. I'm sorry. So those are the ones that really really rubbed me the wrong way.
Yes, perfect. Amazing. Me too. Number one. Yeah, awesome. I feel for them. Like you said, it breaks my heart.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you know, the struggle of like, I'm just trying to lose weight, but and everyone is looking at you funny, or you feel like everyone's looking at you funny because
Mm.
everyone thinks people look at them at the gym. No one's looking at you. They're looking at themselves in the mirror. But,
Totally.
you know, but you're always like, oh, and the belly is showing or whatever, and I need to work harder. And it's like, no, dude, like chill. First of all, get off the treadmill and go lift some weights. And first of
Right.
all, but
Yeah.
first of all,
Great tip.
but then like, yeah, but then like give your body what it actually needs. Deprivation is definitely not the way to go. No, not sustainable in the slightest.
Are you
Yeah.
of the school that like you actually probably need to eat more, get your calories up?
Oftentimes when I see that people are really like, I don't understand, I've been on this diet forever and it's not budging, I'm like, yeah, let's up those, up the calories, up the healthy fats, up the whatever. And then their body kind of starts shifting. So yes, yeah, I don't remember. I think there was maybe one out of over 10 years of me doing this. There was one person that I remember we had to talk about portion control. And that wasn't even because of the it was because they were eating too fast. Do you know what I mean? Like the fact that they were eating so fast had them eat more. And when we just slowed down, they were done. Like they ate a quarter less than what they ate. So,
Right? People
but
wouldn't
yeah,
even think about that as a factor. That's great.
nope,
Exactly.
nope. We
There's
just
so
need to give our
much.
brain a chance to understand that we're full and deliver it
Yeah.
back. And then, yeah.
Yeah, gosh, slowing down. There's so many ways that I bring, like you've just alluded to, there's pieces of just how things were, how our grandmas did things, what ancestrally would we have done? Because that's probably the thing that's actually going to start to work better for us.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
100%.
I love that. Dana, this has been a slice. And as we wrap up, I would love you to leave us with maybe the one most impactful and realistic shift you might offer the midlife woman. Of course, it'd be different if you worked with them one-on-one, hint, hint. But if she's feeling stuck, maybe she can't lose weight or she doesn't know how to where to start with how to feed her body with the sea of information, misinformation out there, what would you say to her?
I would say just eat more protein for now, babe. Just eat more protein. Focus on shifting a bit more protein instead of whatever else you're having on that plate. Hopefully less of the whatever grains or carbs, but just eat more protein. Start with the protein and eat more protein,
So simple. Beautiful.
right?
Yeah. And,
It's
easy and not that easy for a lot of women, but you
mm.
can do it.
You can
But
do it. That's the
okay.
thing. You need to know that you can do it. And a lot of women think they can't, but you can. You can do it.
Awesome. Beautiful. Thank you. That's
Thank
great.
you, Mary. It was so much fun.
Yeah, this has been amazing. I'd love you to tell our audience how can we find you?
Oh, good question. Well, if you want to listen to more of my sexy voice, I do have a couple of podcasts. One is called So Frickin' Healthy, and the other is Becoming a Health Coach with my co-star Megan McCrory. She's awesome. We have a lot of fun. And we have Mary. We've interviewed Mary in the past. A lot of fun as well. And my website, organolicious.ch. But hopefully that will be in the show notes and you don't have to try to figure out how to spell organolicious.
It absolutely will be. So, yeah, my friends, you know how to find Dana. She's wonderful and she can absolutely support you with all of the things that we talked about today and more. We just scratched the surface. Yeah, there's so much good for you. And working one-on-one with someone who really gets it is an absolute game changer. So,
Isn't it? Isn't it? It's just a gift from God. It's like, thank you.
my gosh.
Yes.
Sweet. Well, thank you. All right, my friend, if you loved this and you want more support, resources, and laughs along the way, please visit me at drmarypines.com. Check out Dana's links and my upcoming podcast, which is all about diets as well. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Please also make sure you're on my newsletter because I share when the new pods drop and some other real goodies out there. Thanks all. Till next time.